Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello. We're back again. Yay.
Yeah, you're stuck with us too again. It's 8:30 on I was going to say Saturday. God, I don't even know where the hell I am or where I've been. It's probably best not to discuss where I've been, really.
Well,
Half
can
past
I
eight
explain why
on.
we're late, Ian? Because it's my fault. But in true Doctor Who terms, I'll explain later. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay.
As I keep saying, shocking lack of commitment, but there we are.
Yeah, I know. I
So
know.
half past
Yeah,
eight
yeah.
on Sunday, the 7th of September, 2025. Thank you to everybody for joining. We are ploughing ahead, so you're stuck with us too again. So tough breasticles and get over it. A little bit of admin first, if I may. So I'm just going to refer to a document here. First off, most important thing, JT. JT is doing well. He may even be watching at the minute, so good on you,
He's
mate.
probably taking notes as we speak. I bet he is. I bet he is.
Probably is.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably is.
yeah,
Ian, you're shouting too much. Paul, commitment. Um,
yeah.
but
Talking drivel pole. Yeah,
JT
yeah, yeah.
JT is starting another round of treatment tomorrow. He's happy that that's shared. Um, Probably be, what the nature of these things. It's going to be a little bit grueling. It runs for 5 days solid, but he has been allowed home for a few days, and we did have a little get together online during the week, which did him the world of good. We had a laugh. We talked about various things and everything else. And he has loved hearing from everyone, all the comments posted. He has read Facebook and on YouTube. He's read all of those, and they've really, really, really lifted his spirits. And that genuinely does help with his fight against what he's fighting, really. But let's be honest, after tolerating 2 years of shooty gat twat, a mere irritating cancer isn't really going to phase him, is it? Do you reckon, Paul?
Well, he's been through the wars with that. You're right. But we'll talk more about Shuti Gatwa shortly. But
Yes.
that's a lovely, seamless connection you made there. I'm quite impressed by that. Yeah, really good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've been planning it for at least 30 seconds. But
Yeah.
before we do go anywhere else, I want to say a couple of other things. Huge thanks for last week and for this week to our brilliant mods, the total goddess that is Kirsty, the stylish Mr. Fantastic that is Problem Being, and that leader of men, Legion of James. Thank you to them. Without you, we could not do this. So thank you very much.
And
And
Ian, can I stop you
on,
just for a second while you're talking
yep,
about the lady of the chat? Can I say she's got a new
yeah,
handle? Her name's Frederica. Say no more. That's all I'm saying. Okay. She'll
Frederica.
explain later as well. That's fine.
I look forward to that one. In the chat from last week's show, we had two more super chats, and I want to pronounce this right, otherwise I look a complete idiot. Polaritatum inverte. There you are. Thank you for
Is that
your
Latin?
super chat.
That Latin?
Very well. If it isn't, it is now. And
Yeah.
his message: "Get well soon, JT, and appreciate tonight's program. Thank you, and we appreciate your super chat. Sorry, it just came in a little bit late for us to call it out during the show itself. And also to Andy Gledhill Models. Thank you so much, mate. That is really appreciated too. Yeah, yeah. And I think have we missed anything? Have we had some messages to call out? I saw some messages. Lex, thank you. Thank you. Angela Rayner's gone at last. One down, two to go. Yes, that was rather amusing, wasn't
Yeah.
it? All
Yeah.
of a sudden, she became a very weepy, tearful little wallflower, didn't she? And I don't believe it for a second. Do you, Paul?
Yeah, no, I don't either. I don't. The terrible acting. That's all I'm saying, really. But
Yeah.
I was interested.
It
Should
made
have
me
asked for
laugh.
any tax advice from Rachel Reeves, which is probably advisable, to be fair. But, yeah.
Mark Greaves.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly. Thank you, Mark Greaves. If you can sit through Rogue, you can beat, and you're not kidding. Absolutely. My word. Yeah.
And
My
that was
word. But
everyone's favorite episode in season one, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah, yeah.
no.
Or Rouge, as JT calls it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But you're right with Angela Rayner's terrible acting, which also brings us round in a loop back to Mr. Gatwa. Has anything amused you this week, Paul?
Yes, well, I'm going to thank GT for this because he highlighted this for us. Apparently, the name of the company, it's Madman Films, is doing a competition giveaway for, wait for it, folks, drum roll, for Shooty Gatwa Season 1. Hey, it's a competition. They're giving it away free. They can't even sell it anymore. That's how bad it was. There we are.
So if that's the booby prize, what does the winner get? Don't tell
Oh,
me that is what the winner gets.
yes, that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
You don't just get one copy, probably half a dozen you get of them just to balance up a shelf or a wobbly table or something instead. And use all the discs as coasters as well. That'd be quite nice. Yeah. Yeah.
that is a booby prize, isn't it? I mean, I can't imagine anybody who would want that. I mean, if you wanted that, you'd have bought it already, wouldn't you? And you're certainly
You
sure
would.
as hell not
Yeah.
going to want 2 copies, are you?
What did make me
Absolutely.
laugh is though I think it said there are 6 hours of behind the scene footage of various things and extra, wham material. It says like, my God, do you really want extra material from this show behind the scenes? Deleted scenes, all that kind of stuff? No way. If it was season 11, yes, but season 1, no, no.
It might be
And I
interesting
mean
to
classic
see.
11, not
Oh,
Jodie.
absolutely.
So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, didn't he say at one point when he first started that he was going to use some of his millions to fund a new school in his native country?
was he
And
really? Right.
yeah, apparently I
In
saw
In
a couple of
Rwanda, from Rwanda,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd seen
Right.
a couple of features or a couple of comments on it recently on X, and I'd forgotten about that. And I was wondering, yeah, I wonder if those hidden or those extra features are an update on how his school's getting along.
Probably not. Although I
I
had
bet
heard
it's not. Yeah.
season two apparently has extra footage on it with Carlan Ford being interviewed by the latest companion, Varada Sethu, apparently, and it has. Obviously, we've probably seen some of it. Actually, has Carlan Ford wearing a different costume to what she wore in the previous episode that she was in. So there was clearly more material filmed with Carlan Ford. So God bless her that she's
Mm.
not been used and been spoiled.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. It's been shameful treatment of people from the classic proper series, really, hasn't it?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
in a sense, I'm glad she didn't because I would have that scene of her allegedly saying "Come on, mum" to the small child
yeah,
thing
yeah.
um, would have just been rubbing more salt in the wounds, wouldn't it? Really, and I'm glad it didn't happen, or I'm glad they didn't show it, so
Well,
they
it's all
can't
that
claim
kind
it's
of
canon.
timey-wimey nonsense. It's almost like a retread of River Song and Amy, isn't it? With the
Yeah,
daughter and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff being younger than being older than the mother and stuff like that kind of thing, or younger, depending on which timey-wimey aspect you were watching,
yeah, yeah. Just bereft of ideas, really. Paul Thomas Ashworth, PTA, thank you for your super chat as well. Thinking of JT, just said a prayer. Thank you. He will appreciate that, as do both of us, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what else we got? Tell me about John Culshaw.
Joan Coleshaw. Okay, so I have to say, I'm not on commission from Bog Fanish because this is the second time in a row I brought them up. So I do apologise for that now.
It has
Okay.
been noted. It has
Yes,
been
so
noted.
so I do quite like I think we all do like the early output of Big Finish. And I remember when Gary Russell used to be one of the producers on it, they said for a long time they would never ever do recasts of characters, of actors, replacing actors. And they seem to do it every other week now. This is a massive debate, but going back to John Coleshaw, he's apparently, and this is bizarre, casting dead actors is bad enough, but the actor
Mm.
he's replacing is Peter Capaldi. So he's going to be Peter Capaldi on Big Finish playing the 12th Doctor. And did they not ask Peter Capaldi to come on board? They've got everyone
Mm.
else just about.
I mean, Peter Capaldi's been very clear, hasn't he, about not wanting to return to the
Mm,
series, probably in any format. So they may have approached him and he may have said no.
yeah,
But you then have to think, do we respect his wishes and leave it there and park it there? Or
mm,
do we try and even further scrape the bottom of that barrel and try and milk his era for a little bit more cash and disrespectfully, I think, recast him?
yeah.
And I think that's the route they've gone down, really.
I think that the
It's,
thing is though, Christopher Eccleston was in the same boat effectively as Capaldi ended up being a little bit to some respects in terms of what happened to him in the series. about being replaced by Jodie and things like that kind of thing. But they managed to get Eccleston involved, so that they can get him if they negotiate. They've got everyone else. I know Tennant turns up for the opening of an envelope. I know that, but it is kind
Yeah.
of they did manage to get Eccleston, so they think you could get Capaldi. But the point, someone mentioned that there's Marjorie said that he's a talented impressionist. He is a very talented man. He's a great
Oh
Tom
yeah.
Baker, I have to say,
Yeah.
fantastic. And if you've seen that wonderful recreation of the scene from Day of the Doctor with him as Tom and the other guy is Matt Smith, have you seen that video? It's
No,
superb.
I
It's
haven't.
very well, really well done. And then they do it again with John Coleshaw playing John Pertwee, and it's really, really good. So look at that on YouTube. He's really, really talented.
Yeah.
My bugbear is with it is casting actors, like you're saying, it's disrespectful to the people who played those characters and the legacy they had. I think, to
Mm,
be fair, some of them are really good at what they do, but it's the principle of changing the actors I have a problem with. I mean, there's one
yeah.
actor they've got called Stephen Noonan who does William Hartnell, and he is really good. And I've listened to some of his stuff, and he's much better than David Bradley. But the principle is, why do you have to do it anyway? Why can't you leave their legacy alone and work on with the people who are still with us, still alive, and create new adventures with them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I think personally, I feel that Big Finish have got a very disrespectful approach these days to the legacy of people, especially the people that are no longer with us, that do have those cherished leave us with those cherished memories. And I just feel that they're trying to couple their output onto them and onto their memory, if you like. And I just don't think it's appropriate. I don't like it. But this one, I mean, with John Culshaw, they're going to have Big Finish releases, aren't they? Eventually, where every single character is played by John Culshaw,
Well,
apart from obviously Nick Briggs as well.
well, he'll be John Coleshaw. We'll be doing the Daleks eventually, I imagine, at some point. But the thing about it is, what makes me laugh is though that you're not so far from the truth, Ian, because I'm a big fan of Bog Fanish's. What I like a lot of it, and I have heard some of the impersonators doing different characters. There's one story that would interest you called The Annihilators, I think it's called, and it's set in
Okay,
season 7. I don't know if you've heard it, but
no,
it's
go on.
John Pertwee. It's a 7-parter set in season 7. So they've got an actor called Tim Treloar playing John
Yeah.
Pertwee. You've got he meets the second Doctor, spoilers coming up, in it, played by Michael Troughton, who does a really good job as his dad, but he is
Okay.
still his son, which doesn't, you know what I mean. Then you've got Daisy Ashford, who's Carlin John's daughter, playing Liz, and you've got Joan Coleshaw playing the Brigadier. Also, they have Fraser Hines in there playing Jamie, and he's the only actor who's playing his own character. The rest are all impersonators. So it gets really ridiculous. And part of the thing is, I think some of them are very good, but then you're taken out of the story because you can tell it's not John Pertwee, it's not Patrick Troughton. I'm very aware of it because I've listened and watched the story so many times. I know those cadences of their voices really well. You know what I mean? So you can tell it's not them, even if they are very good at it. And I think whether or not you're someone's son or daughter, it doesn't mean you should really be playing them as
No,
as one of their characters. It doesn't make sense, really, whether they're good
no,
at it
but
or not. You know?
there's this thing in fiction, and Doctor Who's not immune from it, where they have to have if they're referring back to a character. Like for example, I'm listening to the audio at the minute of again just a 10th Planet, and you've got General Cutler,
Mhm.
okay, who's in charge of Snowcap Base,
Robert Beatty,
and
great actor. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then you've got the book by David Banks, The Missing Adventure Iceberg,
hmm
which I quite enjoyed, but the person in charge of Snowcap Base then was General Cutler's daughter.
Right.
and
Yeah.
and they always seem to go down this route of having a relative of this person is in the same role that this person was in, and I
Yeah.
think it's lazy. And we have it with Kate Lethbridge Stewart, don't we?
Yeah.
She's in charge of unit now because her dad was, and it just doesn't work like that. I mean, I'm not aware of any famous military role. I mean, I don't think the son of the Duke of Wellington commanded the same forces that the Duke of Wellington did. I don't even know if he had a son, to be quite honest. So
Yeah.
shows you what I know. But you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, well,
it's just lazy, I think,
I had to
and
think
trying
for
to
a minute.
fit in.
I had to think for a minute. 10th Planet. I couldn't remember whether Cutler's son actually survives, but he does, doesn't he? At the end of part
Yeah,
4,
he does.
because it's almost
He
like
does.
he is going to die, and that's why he sends a Z bomb to destroy Mondas and stuff. But I've forgotten
That's
he
right.
survived. So why wasn't he going to be in charge of the base? Because that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's a character you've met and could relate to as well. You know, but
Mm. And
yeah.
some of the earlier books, they had an African girl, didn't they, called Kadiatu, who
Mm,
was supposed to be the illegitimate daughter of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, because she was
mm,
Kadiatu Lethbridge Stewart. And again, what was the point? What was the purpose? Why, introduce a character, call them Kadiatu or anything else you
yeah.
like. You can call them Passepartout. I don't care. But why do they have to be a relative of this classic
Yeah.
character? And it didn't advance the plot any further forward, I didn't
Mm,
think.
yeah.
But, is
I
this
think
us going off on a tangent again?
we have to warn the audience that's going to happen. There's no way we can stop that,
Yeah,
because we
sorry
we
about
have tangents are middle names, Ian. To be fair, that's so that's it really. To be fair,
that.
but someone did
Yeah,
mention in the chat there, I noticed about the fact that these impersonators, it does become a bit of a parody. It does. You're right. It's like I'm a massive fan of Dad's Army, and they made a Dad's Army movie a few years ago with Mark Gatiss in it, and they had. I
yeah,
think Bill Patterson playing John Laurie, and Michael Gambon playing Arnold Ridley, Godfrey, and stuff like that. And I know those characters have become kind of classic characters, but even then, it's hard to replace them. It's like the Harry Potter TV show that's coming out now. For massive Harry Potter fans, it must be really hard to engage with the new actors, having been used to Robbie Coltrane and Michael Gambon
mm,
and Richard Harris and people like that, and Nick Frost is being Hagrid now instead of Robbie Coltrane. That must be very hard to connect with that, because you're
yeah.
associating with the people you grew up with or enjoyed, or you know what I mean. So it's very hard.
Well, I suppose with things like Harry Potter, like with Doctor Who, for example, with when we similar age, or virtually same age, we the way we grew up with it and the classic series came to us through books first and things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
But with Harry Potter, I would imagine that you would first get the books and you would have your own mind's eye version of what Hagrid was like.
yeah, yeah,
And then you've got the film, and then you have to adjust your mind's eye version of Hagrid to become what it was with Robbie
yeah,
Coltrane. And
yeah,
then you're going to have to do it again. So technically, in your head, you'll have had 3 iterations,
yeah,
whereas we already knew what an earlier Doctor looked like, and then we
yeah.
read about them in books, and then we saw it on the program. So it was pretty much consistent. But with
Well,
things
it's
like Harry
interesting you should say that, because my wife's a massive fan of Lord of the Rings, and she's read the book so many times, and she knows it almost word for word. And she wasn't a big fan of the Peter Jackson movies because of that, because she had in her
okay,
mind's eye what the characters would be like and how it would be presented, etc., etc. And things were cut out and whatever, or changed or tweaked or whatever.
mm,
So she wasn't a fan of those movies, and I can relate to that, because she felt very much so. And she's a fan of Agatha Christie as well. And they've redone Agatha Christie now, made them up to date or changed them to make them more PC or whatever. And it's like, if you're going to tamper with
spoiled them.
something, choose another thing to work on, or write your own thing. Don't change something for the sake of changing it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but a
yeah,
lot of the time they can't help. They have to, don't they? They
yeah.
have to.
Going back to characters being replaced or actors being replaced, because I wasn't very familiar with William Hartnell originally, apart from Unearthly Child and maybe a couple of episodes of The Chase that I saw in the 80s, when the Five Doctors came along, Richard Hundle, I accepted almost immediately, because I didn't have as much of a connection to Hartnell as I do now, because I've seen all
Yeah,
his episodes. You know what I mean? So likewise,
yeah,
other characters that are involved in the series that I know very well now. If Big Finish had done this in the 80s, I'd maybe be less critical of it, because I didn't know the characters that well as I do now. But Richard
mm,
Hundle, I thought was wonderful as the first Doctor, even though looking back now, he's not really much like him. You know
no,
what I mean? So I think it's probably where how you might
yeah.
approach it as a fan. You know what I mean?
I had no problem. accepting Hurndall. And my experience of Hartnell was exactly the same as yours up to that point.
Yeah.
And I agree, looking back, he's not that very Hartnell-y, really.
Yeah.
But at the time in the Five Doctors, I welcomed it. It was fine. It was great,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it, and it was a great night. And
Yeah.
it's a modern Uncle Terence classic at the end of the day. But I do know what you mean. Yeah.
I have to agree with Peter Harrington. Alfred Molina's Hancock in that play is brilliant. I forgot it's called Hancock, I think it's called, but surprise, surprise, it's a wonderful performance. It really is good. I recommend it. It's a Screen 2, I think it was from about 1992 or something. Really good.
Okay.
You're right, Peter. Yeah. If you've not seen it, Ian, I know you're a big Hancock fan. You'll find it on YouTube. It's really good. Really good. Yeah.
Was there a scene in that where they were on a boat trying to sleep on a boat? Right.
But John the
Because
Measurer and his wife at the time, they're all on there getting a bit drunk. Yeah.
was it just 4 people, or were there more people on the boat?
I think it was only 4. It was Hancock and his wife at the time, or girlfriend at the time, Freddie Hancock, and then you had, I think, John LeMay and his girlfriend at the time as well. I think, yeah.
I'd read somewhere that they were also on a boat at some point with Terry Nation and his wife, because Terry Nation, of course, worked with Hancock, didn't he? He was a gag writer for a while, and it was getting sacked by Hancock, who sacked pretty much everybody as he destroyed his own career and life. Sadly, left Terry Nation at a loose end in 1963, and he wrote the Daleks.
Yeah,
which
so
was
we can be
which was
thankful
quite
for them falling out. Yeah.
So thank you, Tony Hancock, for the Daleks. Really,
It's
the way it is. But before we go any further, John Keeley, a super chat from you. Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. I hope all are well. Yes, I'm well. You're well, aren't you, Paul?
Mm-hmm. You caught me drinking tea here. Yeah, so I'm doing well.
Commitment issues, but and Lex as well. Lex Kane, again, you saw a video clip of Matrix Resurrections, and the guy who played the awful character Rogue was playing Agent Smith. Oh, right. I've forgotten that. You shouldn't mess with a classic, and Agent Smith was a classic character, wasn't he? Yeah. I don't. Yeah, recasting again. Not, John Culshaw. He strikes me as being a little bit of the Olivia Colman of Big Finish. She's like in everything.
Yeah, omnipresent. You mean? Yeah, and everything. Yeah. He's very good. A friend of mine worked with him recently. They did a show about Lena Zavaroni in the Fringe last year, not this August past, but the year before, and he played, I think, Huey Green, I think, in that particular production. It was really, really good. And at the same time, we were doing a one-man show about Les Dawson, and he was really good. So he's a very good performer, and he's good at what he does. The main thing is having him playing these effectively dead actors. What the problem is for me personally, but but
I know what I like the use of the word omnipresent there. In Yorkshire, we'd say bloody everywhere, but omnipresent works definitely. I wonder what will turn up in next. No, I don't wonder what will turn up in next.
But have you heard any of the other impersonators? Have you heard Sadie Miller or Daisy Ashford playing Liz or playing Sarah? Because obviously you're a big Pertwee fan. Have you heard any of that, or any of Tim Treloar?
I've heard a bit of Tim. I've heard a bit of Tim Treloar, but not as Pertwee. I can't have Pertwee sullied.
Yeah. I just wondered because you're a big fan of Pertwee. I wondered what your opinion was if you'd heard his impersonation. Because I
should probably have a listen, but I haven't, and in some respects I deliberately haven't.
Yeah.
Because it is so sacred to me.
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid, the day that we don't want to think about it, but the day perhaps when this world doesn't have a Tom Baker anymore.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go there, and we don't want to think there, but nobody lives forever, and ultimately we will be at that point.
Yeah.
Would they rush to recast? Probably, and probably again with John Culshaw. Where does it stop?
I think they will do that eventually. But what Big Finish has been doing with Tom, they've been banking episodes for years and years and years in order to preempt that a little bit, I believe. Yeah. So
Yeah.
At
Thank you,
least Tom's
Virtual
getting the work.
Baz.
That's the important thing. Yeah. So
Well, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Virtual Baz. Besides, AI can now replicate voices accurately, so they can use their actual voice. Yeah, true, true.
But they shouldn't be
The
doing that, though, I have to say, because that is taking away someone's livelihood. I don't mind
mm,
if they do AI for missing episodes, for instance. The trouble is they've not managed to make the actual body language or facial movement accurate enough to be like that
no,
character. Because if you notice that the mouth changes or the body language looks really odd, you know. So I
yeah,
think you shouldn't be using AI to recreate people who are alive. I think possibly dead slightly different because you are. Maybe I mean I remember seeing an article on Facebook about Peter Cushing still available for work from the Department of Work and Pensions because he was in the Rogue One, I think, playing Grand Moff Tarkin, wasn't it? At
yes,
the end of that, you know, and they had
yeah.
someone doing him. I think
I think,
depend how you
yeah,
use it, but if someone's alive, you shouldn't be taking away their livelihood because that's a different thing entirely, you know. But yeah,
I think with Peter Cushing, they approached it slightly differently, didn't they? I mean, Rogue One, how long ago was that now? 5, 6, 7 years? But
it's as long as it
it's
may
the
be longer than
only,
that. Yeah,
it's pretty much the only one of those films that I actually liked, to be fair.
yeah.
But
Well, they
I
did it
think
in the last of the prequels, Revenge of the Sith, as well. He appears at the end of that as well, I think, doesn't he? When
I
they're
can't.
building the Death Star, and they have him walk. He doesn't speak, but he walks past and stands next to Darth Vader and looks at the Death Star being built
Right.
for the going into New Hope and stuff, or
I
Star Wars
think with
One, as I call it, really.
certainly with Rogue One, I think they got somebody that looked very like him, very thin-faced, and then
Yeah,
did the necessary bits of jiggery pokery to make it very much. So if you're trying to map one face onto another, if the base face, for want of of a better term, is a close approximation, then it's going to make that job easier, isn't it?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, it certainly was very, very good. It was
Oh
very, very
yeah, yeah.
convincing, and they did it with Carrie Fisher, didn't they, as well?
They did. That's right. Yeah, yeah. I
In
wasn't
that,
so convinced for that one. I don't think, to be honest. But yeah,
no,
but I think it's still early days. And if you look at all this, the AI stuff that Doctor Who's been getting done recently with various attempts to recreate missing episodes, or even just to animate, you know, things like Big Finish stories, like things like that. It's coming on leaps and bounds, and I think they'll get there
mm,
eventually. I really think they will. But and if we can recreate Marco Polo from scratch, and it's almost 99% real, then that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Really, but
well, I mean, it'd be if they recreated it like that, then obviously the actors that are portrayed in it have to get royalties because it is their likeness and it is their
yeah,
words
yeah,
and everything else, and quite rightly so. Um, but I mean, I would take that any day than the abortion that was the Celestial Toymaker DVD release with animation. I mean,
yeah,
what
yeah,
was the point? You
yeah,
should just not have bothered. Just because you can do something doesn't always mean you should. But nothing seems to stop them. They don't seem to care. They seem to have no respect for the source material at all, really. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, is that was referring to the John Hurt character? Um,
No, Ian Holmes' character
oh, Ian
Ash
Holmes' character. Yeah,
was
okay,
the
yeah,
android in the first film who went berserk and ended up having
of
his
course,
head
yeah,
knocked off and then reanimated.
yeah, yeah. Because I read
Yeah,
somewhere,
I've
aren't
not
they going to
I've not seen
recreate John
anything of
Hurt
him.
in another Alien sequel or something? I read that somewhere recently. They're going to try and recreate him at some point. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for,
I'm not sure about that.
yeah.
Really, I'm not sure about that. Thank you, Lex. Lex Kane, another super chat. Thank you so much, mate. Another question for Ian and Paul. Okay, what favorite sci-fi movie do you watch over and over again, and do you find something new every time you watch it?
How long have you got, Lex? This could take a little bit of time here. I'm a big fan of not just I like sci-fi movies from different genres and eras. One of my most favorite movies, and I saw this as a kid, and it's still got great atmosphere. It's a 50s B movie called Them, with giant
Ah,
ants in it, and it scared the hell out of me as a kid. And I still it still gives me frisons now of you know, maybe when you look back at something, that nostalgia that you have for something that scared you as a kid, and I still get those little tingles when I'm watching it. And it's a great movie, it really is. And you do see things. I find the same with Doctor Who. If you watch episodes enough, you do spot things you maybe not noticed, even if it's daft things like a boom coming into shot or whatever. You know, I noticed one in the Sea Devils recently where John Pertwee's trying to go through the minefield and a boom comes into shot, one shot towards the start of him going through with his sonic screwdriver, you know. So you notice things quite a lot, but them's one of my favourite, definitely. What about you?
Difficult one, really. It really is. Oh, wow. I have a fondness for the Blob,
All right, the Steve McQueen.
and I have a
Yeah,
fondness
yeah.
for. I have a fondness for. They're all of the same kind of like rough era. The Blob,
Mhm.
the original War of the Worlds,
Oh yes,
which
yes, I've got
I
that
think
just
is
here. Yeah,
so
love that too.
atmospheric,
Yeah.
and When Worlds Collide. But
All right. Right.
there's four. Those are three of them, and the other one, which is my favourite of all four, is The First Men in the Moon. I
Oh,
love that film.
the one with Lionel Bridges, Lionel Jeffries. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
and Edward Judd. Yes, I love that movie. It's
yeah,
superb, really good.
yeah.
And
It's wonderful
those alien
visually.
creatures on the moon are really creepy, aren't they? Really creepy. They're very,
The Selenite,
very,
yeah,
yeah, you're very,
yeah.
very Quatermassy, aren't they? Very much like the
Very
Quatermass. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
combination of costume and stop motion. You know,
yeah,
the sort of like ruling class are very much stop motion, aren't they?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think Lionel Jeffries is a brilliant character. You just get his mad professorish,
yeah.
just searching
And he's
for
very
knowledge.
doctory, isn't he? In it almost, yeah,
He
almost like
is.
Peter Cushing
He
a
is.
little bit, you know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
One of my other
Yeah.
favorites is The Time Machine with Rod Taylor, the
Right.
original one from the 60s. That's a great movie.
Right.
Mainly just for that fantastic time traveling shot of the fashion of the woman in the window, the dummy in the window. That's superb. Wonderful stuff. Yeah. We're digressing
Now,
again here, but never mind.
well, there was a second one from Lex, which apologies, Lex, I missed, and I know. There we are. Um, our favorite adventure game T-shirt, TV show, T-shirt, TV show.
Adventure game TV show.
Mm.
Did he mean, did Lex, do you mean the adventure game on the planet Arg with the, do you mean that show, or do you mean like an adventure series, you mean?
Or just a favorite game show. I'm not really a fan of game shows, to be quite honest. I think for me, the only game show would be it'd have to be the Generation Game. Both Bruce Forsyth and nothing against him, but not Jim Davidson because I never watched it then. But it was Bruce Forsyth
And
and
Larry
Larry
Grayson.
Grayson.
Yeah.
Larry
Yeah.
Grayson picked that up and ran with it and was very, very good. But it
Mm.
was, I think it's partially because it ran right through that 1970s era where the BBC dominated Saturday night, where it went from the football scores and Basil Brush to Doctor Who,
Mm.
and one that it's very difficult to mention these days because he's ruined your childhood.
Yes, we know
Um,
you're talking about. That's fine. Yeah.
yeah, and then and then the two Ronnies and Starsky and Hutch and Match of the Day and all that kind of thing. That Saturday evening was legendary for nearly a
Yeah.
decade, and Generation Game was part of that. And I think for
Yeah.
me, I would say game show. If that's the thing, game show. It would be that. I don't know what about you, Paul?
Well, I'm going to just jump in here a minute. Aidan said about Forbidden Planet. That's one of my favorite movies too. I love that. It's a great, great. That's where Star Trek got their ideas from. Gene Roddenberry stole heavily from Forbidden Planet, and you can see the influences from that. Great movie, great movie. I love it.
Yeah.
Robbie the Robot, superb. Game shows. If you're talking about the adventure game, I did like the adventure game that was on BBC Two when all the celebrities would try and cross the board and trying, it's like an escape room would be now kind of idea. That was quite good. I did like the Generation Game. Loved it when they did Doctor Who items on it. And apparently, spoiler coming up, on season 13, an extra is on there from the Generation Game from 75 with Bruce Forsyth, and there's an Invasion Cyberman on it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
Never seen it before, but I've seen pictures of it, and it looks fantastic. So I love the Generation Game as well. Loved all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the Saturday night lineup was superb in the 70s. Superb. Yeah.
was it Bruce Forsyth or Larry Grayson? It'd have been Bruce Forsyth. Bruce Forsyth, because he did
Him as
two
well.
stints, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did 2 stints, didn't he? Because he came back, but it would have been Bruce originally because of the livery of the Dalek. He had a gold Dalek on, didn't he?
That's right. It was Dialects was the gag, and a Dalek came on. That was the gag they did. Yeah. So yeah.
And it was the standard BBC scenery man in the brown coat with the flat cap,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Who looks like Eric Morecambe would be, kind of thing. That kind of
Yeah,
image, something.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then pulling out his little paper bag trick as well as he walked off.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Nightmare in the
Um,
Crystal Maze as well. My God, yes, I remember them definitely. Crystal Maze, they had two different presenters, Richard O'Brien and was it somebody Tudor Poole? I can't remember his first name, but he remember Tudor
Ed,
Poole saying that
Ed,
replacing Richard O'Brien was like replacing William Hartnell, kind of thing. That's what it was like. Apparently, he said, yeah.
oh, thank you. Another one, Lex. Thank you so much. 321 was your favourite with Dusty Bin. Yeah,
I remember 321, and it's interesting. You have to remember Mensa to work out how to solve the puzzles on that show.
it was very
And the,
convoluted, wasn't it? It
and they
really
repeated
was.
it on the one of the game channels, one of the game show channels on cable, and John Pertwee's in one of the Christmas ones appearing as Dracula, which was wonderful. You get but the it's interesting because it was really cryptic, and it was like
Mm.
you couldn't work it out. You'd have to be obviously some kind of genius to do it. Honestly, it was so clever.
I
Yeah,
mean, it wasn't so much lateral thinking, was it? It was almost like three-dimensional thinking. And then
yeah,
even then,
yeah,
I don't know what the people scripting it were on
yeah.
at the time. But they must have been smoking something fairly toxic
Well,
to come up
it
with
was the
something.
70s, Ian. To be fair, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, only just though. It was more
Yeah.
early 80s, wasn't it? Late
I
70s,
think late
early
70s,
80s.
early 80s. Yeah. But
Yeah, and people trying to do that 3, 2, 1 and ended up just insulting everybody, didn't they? It was
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hugh Janus. Hugh Janus loved that name. Tarkin was played by Wayne Pygram, who also played Scorpius in Farscape.
Wow. Mm.
So I'll have to look him up. He's probably very facially, very much like Mr. Cushing.
Mm. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you my old school headmaster was Peter Cushing's cousin, I believe?
No, you didn't. No. Mm.
Yeah, Jeff Cushing, as he was called. Yeah.
Wow.
And I never, ever, 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 ever thought at the time, stupid as I was, to engage him in a conversation about his then very much alive cousin and see if there was ever any chance of meeting him. Never thought about that once. What a bloody idiot. Should have done. Opportunities missed, eh?
Yeah. So just go off the top of I used to love It's a Knockout as well.
Oh,
But again, we can't really talk about that one either, unfortunately. But yes, there's lots of
well, yeah,
yeah,
that was Stuart Hall, wasn't it? And his
yeah.
commentary was legendary, and he
Well,
would
he used to
just
do that hysterical laughter, all these big,
yeah.
guys in big costumes falling over, and it was hilarious.
You couldn't
But
help but
unfortunately, now you
laugh
can't talk
along,
about
could
it.
you?
Yeah.
You couldn't because we had sort of like provisional rounds of It's a Knockout, didn't we? And then they
Yeah.
went to an international one as
Yeah.
well, and it was
Yeah.
just it was wonderful telly. You couldn't help not watch it. But there was also that old rugby commentator, wasn't it, Eddie Waring?
Eddie Waring, yeah.
He
I remember
commented on
Mike
it as well.
Yarwood just impersonate him all the time on his show. Remember that in the 70s? Yeah.
Mike Yarwood did tend to focus on just a few, didn't he? And
Yeah.
yeah. I think
He
it
was
was,
no John Coleshaw, was he? Let's be honest.
no. I think Mike Yarwood went a little bit like Hancock did at the end. Towards the end of Hancock's career, he did a stage performance that was catastrophic, and he tried to go back on one or two things, which included doing an impression of Charles Lawton,
Mm.
who was a 1920s actor, wasn't he? Was it Charles Lawton who was Quasimodo in Hunchback of Notre Dame? He came from Scarborough, North Yorkshire, by the way. Charles Lawton. Just thought I'd throw that in.
One of my favourite movies. It was on today actually this afternoon. I saw a bit before to go out again. Was Witness for the Prosecution with Marlena Dietrich, and his wife Elsa Lanchester was in it as well. And he plays the barrister who tries to get the guy off for murder. There's a twist in the story. I won't spoil it for you. It's a great film, and he's a wonderful actor, or was.
Yeah.
And he was the one that said to John Pertwee, You got chucked out of drama college. So did I. You do very well, and they both got chucked out of drama college. There we are. Yeah. So
That's right.
yeah.
But as I was saying, Hancock was trying to do Charles Lawton, which by that point was an old impersonation. And
Yeah.
that was very much what Yarwood ended up doing, wasn't it? Stuff that was really not current anymore,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Mark Greaves, I have an idea for a game show for 2 years. A failed Rwandan actor and showrunner. See where this is going. A failed Rwandan actor and showrunner are hunted by TV fans with crossbows in the Highlands of Scotland. I like the sound of that.
Can we start a funding campaign for that now? GoFundMe type thing, and we'll get it off the ground as quick as we can. Mark, that's a fantastic idea.
Mark Greaves, I am liking the cut of your jib, sir.
Yes,
I
good,
like the
good,
sound of
yeah.
that one completely. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Wow. Well, it's 9:10. You're listening to Who's Tangents with Ian and Paul. See what other stories have we got, Paul?
Well, let me have a little look at my notes here. The
What
things I sent you.
about the BBC having a national duty?
Oh yes. Now this is an interesting story about Stephen Moffat claiming that the BBC should make Doctor Who, and they have a national duty to do it. And he said it's really upsetting when it's not on. And I was just thinking it's actually very upsetting when it is on. Certainly recently, it's very painful, to be honest. If I can fire up my notes here, I'll read some of the article. But I'm having a bit of an issue here with my laptop. Just give me a second to find it.
I think I've got it up. If Uwe as
Ooh, and
JC
Mrs. Yeah,
would
yeah,
say
yeah,
at that point, he'd be going, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm not even going to try." Former Doctor Who showrunner argues BBC has a national duty to keep making the show. With the future of Doctor Who a little up in the air, that's putting it lightly, isn't it?
yes,
Former
yeah,
showrunner Stephen Moffat has argued that the BBC has a national duty to continue making the show. It then says, obviously, what period he did the show and references two stories that he did recently, which we will ignore. But after the latest episode, The Reality War, which saw Shooty Gatwa regenerate into Billy Piper, or did it, everyone is still waiting for a decision from Disney about whether they're set to commission more seasons. Speaking exclusively to RadioTimes.com before that statement was made, Moffat said, "I hope it comes back." Right. I don't have any inside information, and I'm only vaguely in touch with Russell. And we're usually talking about the fact that we're both working for Channel 4, where they can both stay. I don't know what the future is. I hope there is one. I have no idea. The spin-off's been shot. He's not saying anything that we don't already know and hasn't been talked about for months. It's just word salad. He's saying nothing, basically. But it's always painful when it's off the air. I think there's a national duty for the BBC to make Doctor Who. So basically, they've got this tagline. He says the BBC has a national duty to keep making the show, and they've made a big article about the fact that he said just that and nothing else.
yeah, yeah.
So,
in fact, Radio Times have a habit of doing this. The other story that we covered last week has similar kind of word salad about what's not happening. Doctor Who's safe. It's coming back with or without Disney. Blah blah blah. It'll be back anytime soon. But it's not. It's just as you say. It's just propaganda, trying to keep it relevant, but no one's interested.
Yeah,
almost. You know what I mean?
they're trying to keep it in the national debate, aren't they? But I mean, it wasn't even in the national viewing, was it, when it was on?
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, sad as it is, I just don't think anybody cares, really.
Yeah.
I think Doctor Who's been ripped away from the very people that really enjoyed it and stuck with it through so much, and stuck with it when it wasn't on originally for 16 very long years. Barring McGann, obviously. Huge impact on your life there, Paul, with McGann.
Of course, yes, yes.
Have you ever met McGann, by the way, Paul?
Just the once, yes. I did see recently. Actually, there was a con, a comic con in Northern Ireland. McCoy was there, McGann was there, Colin Baker was there, and Peter Davison. So we had 4 doctors there. I'm hoping that in February they might do the same thing here in Scotland, and hoping they will. And I'll go and meet all of them. That'd be superb. Yeah, all at once. I saw a great photograph. Yeah, I saw a great photograph on Facebook with all the doctors there. I think Tegan was there, Ace was there, and so was Perry. But they had Christopher Lloyd sitting in the centre of the photograph as Doc Brown. It was fantastic, really lovely. So I'd love to meet him as well.
Are you sure
I
he was a
loved.
Doc Brown, or was he just a white-haired old man that they were trying to cosplay as Hartnell? You know,
No,
I
he
mean, you
wasn't.
don't know.
He was in fact. He was dressed. He was just dressed normally, but it was Christopher Lloyd. It wasn't some
Okay.
impersonator, in case you're wondering. But it was a lovely photograph to have another time traveling doctor right in the centre of the group. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah,
When universes collide.
exactly. Yeah. So I'm hoping maybe as I said, I have met Paul McGann. I'd like to meet him again, and I'd like to meet Colin. I've met Colin and Sylvester before, but I'd like to meet him again more recently.
Mm.
So it'd be nice to do that. Yeah.
Last Colin saw Colin years ago. Last time was after he'd been in the stage play after he took over from Pertwee,
All right.
and it
Well.
was at the. It might have. I'm thinking it might have been the Alhambra in Bradford, if that's where they were. It was
Yeah.
certainly in Bradford, and I think it was the Alhambra. But you're talking 1980s, so
Yeah.
memories a little bit, you know.
The last time I saw him, I went to see this play between with Robert Powell. I think I mentioned it before on the show. A stage version of Kind Hearts and Coronets. You've probably seen the
All right.
film version with from the 40s or 50s, I think it is. But he was playing the Alec Guinness part in it, where he plays all the characters, and Robert Powell was playing the I've forgotten the actor, Dennis Price, who plays him in the movie version, and he was playing that part. And I met Colin afterwards in the pub, and I also met Robert Powell. Robert Powell was lovely, and he was singing Colin's praises, He's been a lovely friend and a nice actor to work with. And Colin was superb in that particular show, really good
Dennis Price of the Navy Lark with John Pertwee.
as well. Yeah, yeah. Everything's connected
That's what
together,
I
isn't
know
it?
him
That's the
from.
thing. Yeah, yeah,
Everything's connected,
yeah.
which is one of the underlying things of Douglas Adams is Dirk Gently, isn't it? Everything's
I think it
connected.
is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So the BBC has a moral duty. Do you think it does to keep making it?
Well, if
Personally,
they had a
I'd
moral duty,
prefer
they
it if
wouldn't
they
have
left
made
it
season
alone.
1 and 2 with Shooty Gatwa, would they? Let's be honest. So,
No,
because
no.
they broke their morals weren't being served well that day, were they, when they made those episodes?
No.
You know.
I think the BBC's got a moral duty to leave Doctor Who alone and bugger off and stay well away from it for quite some considerable time until
Yeah.
the political leanings of the BBC are a little bit more equitable and temperate, not as far left and activist as they are.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Doctor Who is just a vehicle that they're using to push their propagandas and their agendas, and it's disgusting. And if they were any good, they can create new stuff to use for their propaganda, but they know that nobody would look at it, so
Yeah.
they attach it to Doctor Who, don't they?
I agree with Marjorie about resting it. I think it needs to be rested. I've said this many times before, I know, but
Mm.
need to be rested for a time for it to be missed again, to be want to be
Yes.
brought back. It won't be
Yeah.
missed in the same way it was, but that's 16 years apart from McGann, between Survival and Rose, but it won't have that same impact. But I think it needs to be missed and loved again, as it wasn't loved the last 2 years it's been on the telly, or more than that, probably
I
6 years.
would I
Yeah.
would agree.
So, yeah.
I would agree. As much as it pains me, um, we know from before that we can survive and we can enjoy and continue to enjoy and discuss and debate and argue nicely because disagreement is healthy if it leads to a debate.
Yeah.
Which again, that side of things doesn't like debate, do they? They just like to shout down and shut down and deplatform. But
Yeah.
it's always good to debate stuff, and we can debate the classic series up to and including McGann for easily another 16 years.
Oh,
Excuse me. I
definitely,
hope it
without a
won't
doubt.
be
Yeah.
16 years, but I think probably nearer 10 years for Doctor Who rather than even 5. I think they've damaged it way too much. The brand has had some almost irreparable damage.
Well, they've had two
And
chances after Capaldi to try and
yeah,
improve on it, and they screwed it up massively. I do
yeah,
think, sadly, though, based on what we've been hearing, I know we've not had anything concrete yet, but I know what the JT's contacts and what we talked about and things like that, that there's rumours that the BBC are trying to get it back sooner rather than later, which would be to its
mm,
detriment. I appreciate that, definitely, because it needs to have a rest. But if they are going to bring it back, I reckon it won't be till 2027 once they get this fishy show out the way first. And then you'll get maybe a new series or a Christmas special or something. But I heard another rumor that David Tennant is coming back again. It's like we don't want David Tennant back again, so let's not have him back again. We've done that. You've done that to death, you know.
I d David Tennant was pretty much welcomed back for the 50th.
Yeah, yeah,
And when he disappeared off in the TARDIS again and said, Trenzalore, I don't want to go, it
yeah. That was
meant that
very
he was
funny. That
gone.
bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he'd gone again, but he'd gone again with the very last words that he said. So in some
yeah,
respects, it stayed that. He's back again and potentially back again. I think that would be very, very, very negative. David Tennant is a toxic brand now.
yeah,
A very toxic brand now. And if you want to bring Doctor Who back and bring it back with David Tennant and just have it watched by the ever diminishing list of TQI cult adherents, then fine, but you're only going to get catastrophic ratings and waste every penny that you pump into it. I can't see why they would want to do it. Why? But then,
I think
shoot,
probably.
why?
Well,
Yeah,
I think even in Mark, I think Mark Gatiss even said in an article that he mentioned about Doctor Who's worst enemy's nostalgia, and I think that's true. But that's what they're trying to do with David Tennant. I mean, they can't keep bringing him back. I think. See, in the 80s, when I think when Doctor Who was postponed, and I think Michael Grade said we want to get uh, speak to Sidney Newman, we'll get Patrick Troughton back, and all that kind of stuff. I would have
yeah,
hated that because it doesn't progress the show. And they're doing the same
no,
thing with David Tennant, which is daft. You know, if Tom Baker was going to come back after McCoy, or like I think there was talk about Tom Baker being in the TV movie, and that would have been Tom Baker and Paul McGann, and that would have taken out the 80s doctors, kind of, really, because some people weren't so keen on them. I would have
yeah.
hated that, wouldn't you? Because that's what they're kind of almost trying to do with Tennant. It's like keep bringing him back. He was the favourite Doctor of the new series, but it's the law of diminishing returns, isn't it? He can't keep
I
coming
think
back.
I think it
He
is.
was okay in the 50th, or the 60th. It was a bit there, you know. So yeah,
And I would probably dispute that he's looked back on now as the favourite. I would say probably he's been eclipsed by Matt Smith, who's generally a little bit more. I know Matt said a few sort of like vaguely leaning on lefty things when really they should tread this fine line publicly of not being either side. To be honest, it's probably wiser that way. Keep things like that to themselves.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Matt Smith seems to be the most balanced of the lot, and just genuinely pleasant.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
I think Tennant has become very, very unpleasant and not a nice person at all. And I think he's damaged his own legacy, and I
yeah,
think
yeah,
RTV has helped destroy that legacy as well. Um, and I think Matt benefited by having Moffat before he went really crap.
yeah,
And the unfortunate thing with Capaldi, as we all know, is Capaldi had really, really, really bad scripts, was very badly served, was very
yeah,
badly treated. And but we all know that the rot that became Jodie Whittaker was setting in very early on with Capaldi, and that we
yeah.
eventually saw Missy, the master being Missy, because God forbid it was something new, or the Rani, God forbid it had to be a sex swap, didn't it?
Well,
And
they even
then
did
of course,
that. Did they with the general, didn't they? And was it
yeah, I was
series
just going to say the
9?
general
Yeah,
as well. You
yeah,
knew
yeah,
you knew the writing was on the wall at that point, and where they were going, and various comments dropped, and apparently the character Bill, apparently she was a lesbian.
Really? Was she really?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's a surprise
yeah.
to me. I didn't think she was. She did never
I know.
never
When I
said it.
went back and
Never, she maybe
checked,
said it once, maybe. Yeah, but yeah,
well, I went back and checked, and
yeah.
I think there was 36 references per episode. So naturally, I missed it.
Oh,
I
well.
didn't cotton on, but
I think the
apparently
most
she was.
unsubtle one was the one with the Roman soldiers, wasn't there? In the Eaters of Shite, Eaters of Light. That one, that episode. Yeah. So
Yeah, very probably.
Yeah.
Now, have we missed some super chats? So I'll start with Marie UK. Hello, Marie. David Tennant is like a child stamping his feet because his favourite show is going down the toilet, though it's partly his fault. Absolutely. I think he's a very immature man. And I think, personally, my personal opinion, I think his balls are in somebody else's handbag. But there we are.
They're
That's just me.
Velcroed on, I believe, yes. So
And they're artificial.
yeah.
Lex, again, thank you so much. I met the Eighth Doctor, aka Paul McGann. He lived not far from your birthplace in Old Swan, Liverpool.
Oh.
He was talking for about 15 minutes. Very down to earth guy. I mean, yeah, he's.
He
I've
was
met him
lovely when
once.
I met him.
Yeah,
That one
yeah.
occasion I met him, and I told you already. But he was lovely. Yeah. I got
He
him to
was very
sign my. I
pleasant.
got him to sign my copy of the Guy Russell TV movie book, which is a fabulous book.
All right,
When you
yeah,
were,
it
yeah,
is. It
yeah,
is a very good book. That,
yeah.
in fairness, I met him at a York Comic Con. Well, it's not called Comic Con, but it's the equivalent thing, you know. And
But he's tiny. I'm only 5'7". I think I'm taller than
yeah,
him. You know what I mean? So that's how he's a very tiny man. Yeah.
I had to watch my elbow because I was hitting him in the head. It
Yes.
was, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's really very, very pleasant guy. Very pleasant
Yeah.
guy. Mark Greaves, instead of ad breaks, we watch Bad Wolf executives run across minefields. I think I'm going to be called into HR again. I think you might be, but you
Yeah.
know what? I
We
like
should
the way
get
this
Bear
is.
Grylls involved with this as well. That'd be quite good, as some kind of survival thing and connected with it as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I think in one of the, or the most recent, not the most recent, the next to recent Rambo film, some disreputable people were forcing peasants to run across paddy fields that were mined, and it was quite unpleasant.
Oh.
So yeah, and they certainly didn't deserve it. As opposed to, anyhow, yeah. Have we missed any more? I hope not. I am so sorry. Chat goes like absolute crazy. I don't know how JT keeps a check on that one. Yeah, just talk amongst yourselves. Oh, Lex, you said Takeshi's Castle, Japanese quiz show. Was that a favourite of yours, Lex? I've heard a lot about that, but I've never seen it. I don't know if you've ever watched that, Paul.
The name rings a bell, but I can't remember much about it. But I do
No,
recognize the name. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. No, I can't. I can't think that I have ever even seen a clip of that. I'm just aware of it. Yeah, never seen it. Never seen it at all. But there we go. So we disagree that the BBC has a moral duty to produce Doctor Who.
Yes, we disagree. They should just stop it now, not bother continuing with it, unless it goes into the hands of someone who actually knows what Doctor Who is, because they
Yeah,
don't have any idea who the character is anymore. You know, I mean,
no.
apart from the fact that they made the Doctor sexualized when he's an alien, as we've talked about many times before, seems a really, really kind of lazy way of writing him. He's an alien. He's not interested in sleeping with every other character in the show. You know, that's dull. We don't want
So
to see that. Yeah,
being a McGannite,
yeah.
what's your opinion of his relationship with Grace?
The thing I noticed when all the rot set in with the kissing, the first time he kissed her when he's excited about realizing it was the Doctor, that was okay. It was the snog at the end with the fireworks was a bit that didn't need that in it. You know what I mean? So
And the orchestral music.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that was like when you used to in old films, you see a train going through a tunnel to suggest something naughty was going on. You know what I mean? A bit like that. You know,
Or a steam engine going with its pistons.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
But I mean, it struck me as odd anyway. Because I mean, you didn't see Tom Baker stepping out of the TARDIS after he'd got into his costume finally, and being so glad to finally realise that he's the Doctor and this is him, and he goes up and plants a smacker on Harry Sullivan or the Brigadier. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
it seemed a bit of a stretch for me, but
yeah,
I could take it. I think more for me with the McGann thing was the declaration that he was half human, and I just put that down to he was joking.
yeah, yeah.
That's all.
I always
You
thought
know.
the half human thing, it was like you're just trying to make him a bit like Spock to make him more
Yeah.
relatable, but
But
that misses the
Americans
point
do that, don't
entirely.
they?
Yeah,
American
yeah, yeah,
sci-fi does that a lot.
Yeah.
They'll have a half Klingon or they'll have a half whatever. You know,
Yeah.
they can't help it really.
But as we've all known and we've all said this, you don't have to relate to the Doctor. He's the eccentric alien character. You see it through the eyes of the companion,
Yeah,
is your common denominator because they're a human being, or the you know what I mean, the companion character that explains everything for you, and you don't need
yeah.
to relate to the Doctor. You can like him, you can adore him, like Tom or Pertwee or whoever, but you don't have to, relate to him, do you?
No, no, I agree with that. I think that's a fair point. When I showed my friend the TV movie, it wasn't that part he objected to. He was annoyed with the Doctor turning back time to revive Grace and Chang.
Yeah, that was very like Superman the movie, wasn't it? A little bit, kind of almost, saving
It was a
saving
bit of
Lois
a
Lane kind of
MacGuffin,
thing.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Do you think that's where they got the golden regeneration energy from?
They may have done that. That had crossed my mind. I think
Yeah.
remember when we reviewed the TV movie a while ago. I remember thinking that myself because it's very similar special effect, isn't it?
Mm,
And it's
yeah.
now in the war games now as well, so it must be true. So
No, it's not. It's not. We refuse to accept that. It's just
yeah,
them going back and trying to bastardize classic Doctor Who that was
yeah,
infinitely
yeah,
superior.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think we've said before, I've certainly said before, um, their their approach to classic Doctor Who is very much like a feral cat
mm,
peeing everywhere to mark its territory. They want to mark their territory on classic Doctor Who,
yeah,
and
definitely.
that's
Yeah.
simply because they're not talented enough. Um, the new Rambo prequel movie will have Sly Stallone as creative consultant. It's given the young actor who plays John Rambo his blessing. Oh, thank you for
Oh,
the super
right.
chat, Lex. Again,
Yeah,
thank you,
thank you.
mate.
Yeah.
I don't know who the new Rambo is. Actually, I'd not heard of this one.
I
Um,
mean,
no, I'll have to look that up. I didn't realise.
hmm.
Yeah, so I couldn't quite work out if he died at the end of the last one. Spoilers for anybody that's not seen it, but it was a couple of years ago, so move on. But
I have to say, I
he,
have a
he was really
confession
good.
to make. I have never
Yeah,
seen Rambo. I know.
I see.
I'll get my coat now. It's fine. But yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of
they're
I've
they're
never
all
seen it.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I mean, the first one is really quite an impressive film. It's not of the style of the others. It's very
I'm
different.
not a big fan of
Um,
Sylvester Stallone. That's my problem, to be fair. Yeah, but
right. It's grown
yeah.
on me a bit. I keep meaning to watch Tulsa King,
All right.
um,
Right.
but I liked him in the first couple of Expendables films as well, and I did enjoy Demolition Man with Sandra Bullock.
All right. Right. Yeah.
Have you ever seen
And
that?
I've seen that Nigel Hawthorne's in that as well. He's the baddie, isn't he?
Nigel
Yeah.
Hawthorne's in it.
Yeah.
Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes is in it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just great fun. I do enjoy it, and that's the instruction from Kirst. I need
Yeah.
to watch Tulsa King.
Or
In that case, Your
Frederica, as she's
Majesty,
called. Yeah.
I
So
shall.
yeah. Yeah.
I
She'll
need to know
explain
the
later to you at
backstory.
some point. Yes. That's a little
But yeah,
secret. Anyway, so yeah.
I would recommend Demolition Man to apart from a really naff explosion special effect out of a building at the end, which is even in the early mid 90s, it looked naff. But I would recommend it. I would recommend
I'm
it
a
to
big,
anybody.
as bands go, I'm a big fan of the Police, and Demolition Man is done by Sting in that movie, and I love that particular song. It's a great song. Yeah.
Hugh Janus, thank you for clarifying that for one. It saves me having to do a little search there. The new Rambo is, of course, John Culshaw. Of
Of
course
course
it
it was.
is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
How
either
did I
him or
not
Nick
see it
Briggs,
before?
to be fair.
Or
Yeah,
Olivia Colman, let's face
yeah,
it. Would
yeah,
it
yeah.
surprise you if they tried to regender it?
That wouldn't surprise me. They have done. They're
In the
not. They've
years
done a
running up to the
movie.
Vietnam War.
Yeah, they've done a movie version, a remake of the film that Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner did, War of the Roses, recently with her and Benedict Cumberbatch,
Oh,
haven't they? Yes, and they've
is that
got Shooty Gatwas in that as well. So
right?
yeah,
Dear God.
sounds awful, absolutely awful.
Did you ever see Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile?
Yes, I like those films. They were great fun.
They
Yeah,
were good.
like
They
modern
were good.
versions of Indiana Jones kind of thing, weren't they? Really, to be honest. Yeah,
Sort of. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we say modern. I mean, they were mid-80s as well, because
I
we're so
meant the
bloody old.
setting is set in the present day, though, whereas Indiana Jones set in the
Yeah,
40s, isn't it? You know, that's kind
yeah,
of
that's a
yeah,
fair point. Yeah, but they are
yeah,
good, really good,
mm,
enjoyable films.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. Tangents again. There we are.
yeah.
Um, Tell me about what you know about the cast of Camel Toe, the new Russell T Davis. Is it Camel
That's the
Toe?
working title, isn't it? Yeah.
Tiptoe.
Camel Toe's
Tiptoe.
the working
Sorry.
title. Tiptoe, you were close. Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Different part of the anatomy. You'll have to look up
well,
camel toe, folks, if you don't know what that is. Okay, so Google that if you can.
or
If you can
not.
say that in the same sentence, I don't know. But anyway, yes. So this Tiptoe Channel 4 drama that Russell's writing um, has some of his friends in it. Surprise, surprise. We have,
That's never happened before, has it?
yeah, a bit of nepotism there. David Morrissey, who played the next Doctor in the next Doctor.
Yep.
Jackson Lake, I think the character was he was played. He must have, in that particular performance, I think he was a bit like, apparently he absorbed the Doctor's kind of memories or whatever. Because of the stamp, the info stamp that Cyberman had, I think he was set to Colin Baker in that one. He's very much like Colin Baker, I thought, when he was doing that. But he is in the drama with Alan Cummings as well, and they're both singing Russell's praises in the article regarding how wonderful it all is and wonderful to work with Russell again. But I think from what GT told us, I think the story is connected to some gammon character in it who's upsetting gays and trans or whatever within the
Well,
story, and I
naturally,
think that yeah, yeah.
the root cause of all evil is straight white men at the end of the day, isn't it?
And I think David Morrissey's playing that particular character, as far as I can understand from the
Yeah.
article.
Okay.
Um, and that's coming. That's coming next year, 2026. But Alan Cummings has obviously worked with on Doctor Who with Jodie, and he did the voice of the animated character on Lux as well. So he's never worked with Russell directly because he was doing the voiceover for the animation. This is the first time they worked together. But him, Alan Cummings, Russell T, and David Morris, they're all mates together working on this production. So a bit of casting nepotism going on there, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm looking at the article because you sent the link through, and
Yeah.
the headline's interesting. Alan Cumming, I assume that's his name, not an instruction. Alan Cumming and David Morrissey to lead the cast of Russell T Davies's urgent, captivating, and exciting new Channel 4 drama, Camel Toe. I mean, why is it urgent? Why urgent? Why use that word? Why is it urgent?
Well, I think if we understand from Russell's kind of outbursts he's had at various award ceremonies and stuff like that, he's claiming that basically he's being attacked. His people are being attacked, and that's why it's so urgent because he thinks this drama is going to fix everything. You know, I think that's what the problem is.
Right.
You know,
So it's an extended part of his gaslighting because, of course,
I
his
think so. Yeah,
people
yeah.
are actually the aggressive people, aren't they? They certainly seem to be. They certainly seem
Well,
to be
there
the
are
ones to
factions.
roll.
Just to there are factions that are aggressive,
Yeah,
not everyone. That's the thing. Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
fair. That's fair.
yeah,
But they seem to be the ones that preach the aggression, that preach the
yeah, yeah,
nastiness, that preach the
yeah,
intolerance, and then
yeah.
claim that people are being nasty and intolerant to them.
Yeah,
Um, and we've said before, haven't we? Russell T Davies, he did this with the script writers for series two. They already knew who they were. They'd already been commissioned. They'd already written the scripts, and in the main, they'd already filmed it as well. But he
yeah,
said at the end of series one, we haven't had enough diverse authors. Created a situation, then said we've got diverse authors. I've now solved the situation I also created, even though it was never a situation in the first place. And that's
yeah,
what he does.
yeah,
But yeah, I think here he's trying to. I think he's trying to stir up hatred. Personally,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's an opinion, and I think yeah, yeah. I've got no time for any of them really. I really don't like Alan Cumming at all.
Yeah.
Um, I know he's liked in some parts, but no,
He's
no,
now
I don't.
artistic director of a theatre in Scotland at Pitlochry, and he's running that now in Scotland. Obviously, he's got time to run off and do some filming as well as doing being artistic director of a theatre here in Scotland. But he's doing that currently at the moment.
He does the trade
Can
as
I,
a
so I can
UX
ask
as well. doesn't he?
Dalek Eyes a question there. I This is really quite sad. I much prefer old television to current television. So if I was watching anything, I'd watch older TV shows like Blake Seven or Lost in Space or Land of the Giants or something like that, rather than watch anything current. There's nothing grabbing me current. That apart from I quite like some of the superhero shows that were on Warner Brothers, those like The Flash and stuff like that. But I don't really generally watch modern television very much, I have to say.
Okay. I mean, thank you, Dalek Eye, for the super chat. I don't watch any TV sci-fi at the moment. I think my favourite series that's on at the moment would be Reacher. I think. In fact, definitely Reacher. I really like it. Have you watched Reacher, Paul?
I've never watched it. No, no.
Oh, I think you absolutely should. 3 series so far of 8
Well,
episodes each.
right,
Very brutal, very realistic,
right.
and seemingly, I think, quite true to the novels as well. And very well played by Alan Richardson, who's massive. It's just like, my God, how do you get like that? But without genetic engineering, it's unbelievable. But yeah, I really like Reacher. For sci-fi, I'm not watching anything at the minute, but I have made a note to watch a series called Foundation, which I think is based on Asimov stuff. I've
All right,
seen
right.
clips and it looks interesting. So
I,
I'm
I've
going to.
told a bit of a white lie. I did actually watch a couple of years ago The Mandalorian on Disney Plus,
Okay.
and
Right.
quite liked that. I quite liked it, and I did watch
Right.
the other Star Wars series as well, but that's it's still a couple of years ago now. But I'm looking forward to the Mandalorian movie. I must admit that looks quite interesting. But
Right. I didn't know they were making one. I'm that
yeah,
out of touch,
yeah.
really. But no, Foundation for me. I think
All right.
that's about it. I can't think of anything else that's even crossed my notice. To be fair, but what else did they say about this
It's just
ridiculous thing?
it's all wonderful stuff and great to be working with Russell and blah blah blah, and
Don't
you
tell
know it's
me,
all
is the script brilliant as well?
yes, that yeah,
Right. Okay.
basic that's basically it. Yeah, that's really how it works, is just everything's superb, nothing is rubbish, you know. I know they're not going to diss
So
their own products, they're not going to say it's rubbish, don't
no,
watch
of
it,
course not.
but it's so nauseatingly enthusiastic, you know what I mean? Or maybe I'm just being bitter, I don't know. But
A
yeah,
bitter old man.
yeah.
Um, says the person older than him. Emmy and Tony Award winner and Golden Globe and SAG Award nominee Alan Cumming is Leo. So he's playing a character called Leo, vivid, funny, and dynamic. And he's the owner of a bar called Spit and Polish in Manchester's gay village. And I've got something that tells me he's probably not the only gay in the village either. Probably.
I imagine
Um,
not, but that's partly because where it's set, because there's more than one there. So
yeah.
yeah.
And David Morrissey is Clive. Leo's, oh, here we are. Leo's unsmiling and troubled next door neighbor.
Yeah.
So,
So he's the villain of the piece, isn't he? That's the thing.
naturally,
So yeah.
of course. And it's, it's just writing by numbers for RTD, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not a lot of thought or plot development gone into this. He's just using his standard old tropes, isn't he? Really. The
Yeah.
five-part series will follow Leo and Clive, who have lived next door to each other in Manchester for almost 15 years. But just as life should be settling down, and it was until the likes of RTD stirred it up, the world around them is growing more tense. Words become weapons. They do indeed, don't they, RTD? Opinions become radicalized, and gradually two neighbours become deadly enemies in a tense suburban thriller which challenges everything we consider to be safe. I don't think RTD actually has got any concept of what just straightforward, ordinary people consider to be safe, to be quite honest. It'll
No,
all be from his perspective.
yeah, he's not he doesn't really live in the real world. That's part of the problem.
No.
He lives in this bubble which we've talked about before. So he's not connecting to the real environment that we're all living in.
Yeah. The series, populated with a cast of vibrant characters and underscored with Davies' trademark wit, apparently. He is indeed a shining wit and deft
Is that
humour.
a typo, Ian? I think that's a typo.
I think it was, actually.
Yeah.
I think that was a typo. Is an urgent tale that brings a spotlight to bear on the prejudices which are creeping back into our lives. And I can't think where those prejudices have come from. Can you, really?
I noticed at the bottom of the article it's actually been produced by Phil Collinson and directed by
Oh,
Peter Hoare, who are both
well,
involved with Doctor Who as well.
and the
So,
cast is by Andy Pryor.
yes.
God, honestly, it's like a modern day Nuremberg rally, isn't it? It's all those famous names, and none of them are very pleasant, I don't think, personally.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
we are. Marie, thank you for your super chat as well. RTD is a white knight nobody wants. He knows it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the answer to the question nobody ever asked, isn't he?
Well,
Really?
it's getting
He's
back
just
to the Davros Gate as well, isn't it? Creating a problem where there wasn't a problem.
yes.
It's the same thing. But
Nobody disabled could possibly be evil.
yeah, yeah.
And yet everybody that seems to commit an atrocity these days is apparently mentally disabled. So go figure. But what can you do? So that's camel toe, and they can stick it, quite frankly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I won't be watching it. I might watch
Strangely, neither
what
will
I
I.
might watch to see what the ratings are like, and maybe Bedweir could give us an analysis of that at some point and see how badly it's doing on Channel 4. But having said that, they're already now currently saying that last season Doctor Who got 3.5 million apparently. So that's ridiculous.
We know that's absolute bollocks, though, don't we?
Yeah, yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
Doctor Who never got that. Not at all.
Well,
But thank
even
you,
after
Marie.
even after 6 months of calculating them, however long it is. Yeah,
Getting the same little group of far lefty nutcases to watch it 87 times each per day. Well, just
exactly.
5 minutes at a time, because that counts, doesn't it? But yeah, we should see if Bedweir can do a ratings analysis on that. It would be quite funny. It'd be
It would
quite
be
telling.
very good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Duncan the Funky Evans, thank you very much. Tiptoe will guarantee RTD Alphabet Awards in 2026. Well, he gets them every year, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He gets
yeah.
them every year. It's just what he's going to be awarded for this
He
time.
must he must
The
have all the
award,
letters by now, surely, is he
yeah,
not?
the award for putting his socks on straight goes to RTD this year or whatever. He got one, didn't he, a couple of weeks back? We reported on it last week. It'd
That's right.
been
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah,
pride award for doing absolutely not nauseating, man.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
like it at all. Yeah, no. So what about this fish thing?
Well, the fish thing, as far as I'm aware, is coming in 2026. But interestingly, we talked about DVDs or Blu-rays. Apparently, it's already up to pre-order. Apparently, at the moment.
Interesting.
And I wonder whether or not they had plans to put it on earlier, maybe next month or whatever, or before Christmas, because they've already done this
Mm,
pre-order. So maybe, yeah. But I think that's going to be the gap between season 2 and season 3, or whatever we're going to get our Christmas special, and that's why they're putting it into 2026. I think. Yeah.
right. Because it's very odd, isn't it? And I think we talked about this a bit last week. And if they'd shown a trailer, which they did,
Mm.
um, and it seemed like this series was ready to go, you wouldn't necessarily show a trailer. And this was when was it late? It was late June, wasn't it, when Gatwa's
It was
second
straight after
travesty?
the wonderful last episode called The Reality War, which had
Yeah.
Omega turning up in it. Yeah,
So that was late June, wasn't it?
I think it
Or
was.
mid
Yeah,
to late
yeah,
June. So
yeah,
in mid to late June, they showed a trailer that suggests it's ready to go.
yeah.
But now they may be showing it in June, around June next year, middle of next year or
Possibly. Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So why would you show a trailer for something that you're not going to televise for another
yeah,
year
yeah, yeah.
unless you've lost all confidence in it to the point where you don't even just drop it straight as a one-off binge watch on iPlayer.
I would love that to be true, Lex. That just goes straight to DVD or straight to Blu-ray, as they used to say. And that'd be wonderful. Fingers crossed. Yeah,
It would be, wouldn't it? It
yeah.
would be. It's. I think they'll need desperately to save face, and Disney's probably got a pre-existing deal or arrangement that says they can't.
But I love all this nonsense they keep coming out with about the fact they'll wait until the 26 episodes have all been shown, and then they'll make a decision whether or not to continue their partnership. That is
Yeah.
complete and utter. It's propaganda. That's all it is. It's nonsense. Utter nonsense.
I don't think there's anything coming more from Disney.
Not from Disney. No, Disney walked ages ago. They must have done.
Yeah.
They walked after season 1, probably, to be honest, because it was so bad.
If they'd seen the Christmas special before season 1, they'd have walked, I think.
Well, that's the thing. I think the Christmas special they apparently interfered with. Remember, we talked about that. They wanted the Doctor to be more in it. I would want the Doctor to be less in it and do it more like Christmas Invasion. And he turns up the last 5 minutes. That'd be better. And that would have suited Shooty's kind of era, because that's what he did. He was hardly ever there, But
that is definitely true.
which was a relief.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Sheila B, for that super chat. Thank you very much. There was no message to that, so I don't know if you intended to leave that as blank. But either way, thank you very much. That's very kind. Yeah. Oh, right. Sorry, Sheila. Can we find Sheila's original message? Disney only wanted Bluey. Yeah, so it's probably a means to an end for them. But yeah, I mean, they had them right in the picture right in that scene where the snowman fell off the roof, didn't they?
Yeah.
And he then came out with that allegedly sexual reference about being snowmaned.
Yeah.
Which just basically set the tone for the remaining 2 series, didn't it?
I'm glad that I didn't get that reference till it was explained to me, which is probably just as well. But you couldn't imagine, saying to your family, "What does that mean, Dad?" You can't really explain it.
No, and I think it was very much a bit of niche terminology as well, because I certainly didn't.
I didn't understand it. Yeah,
it was a new one on me, and I did consider myself to be relatively seriously twisted, but I did not know that one at all.
I'll back that up. You are. That's fine. That's okay.
Oh dear. Sorry. Thank you, Sheila. She was saying that was our pocket money, but we've got to share it with JT as well. So we can take it. We can go back to the mid-70s where we could get really quite a lot for that. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I reckon so, definitely. Yeah. And enough money to pay the mortgage as well on top of that as well. So there you
go. Probably.
And buy some chips too. So
I hear they walked after seeing 10 minutes of Space Babies. I think most people wanted to walk after 10 minutes of Space Babies.
I think
to be
the
honest,
whole audience walked after Space Babies. Yeah.
Honestly, it was a monster made of bogies and a spaceship that they powered by just one enormous fart.
Yeah,
is like
that kind of sums up the Shooty Gatwa era, doesn't it? To be fair.
Well, yeah, but then you look back at Eccleston and the way that the Slitheen was a constant reference to fart jokes, and you think, actually, was that where RTD wanted to be all along? Is that
compared to that, the Slitheen are quite subtle. Let's be honest,
At least there was a technical explanation to it. It was just a gas exchanger, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still struggle to think that we actually saw what we saw. Really.
Yeah.
It was quite. Yeah. It was embarrassing. I can't. Yeah. Makes me cringe.
It does. I keep. I've been watching some classic Who on iPlayer, and I'm actually on season 17. They're looking at a bit of a taste for Tom before season 13 comes out. And I thought I'd watch some of that. And he's been absolutely wonderful. I'm on Shadow now, and it's like wonderful stuff. Even with like previously Haunted that I'm on, it's wonderful TV. And Tom, even with the weaker scripts, he just shines all the way through it. And Shooty never had any of that, even in these better episodes, if there are any. You know what I mean?
Tom could carry anything.
Yeah.
He could present a blank page and you would be rapt you would pay
Yeah.
attention. And that's no exaggeration. That is Tom Baker. And Tom Baker in his prime, at the height of his powers, was just, you were drawn to him.
Yeah.
Tom Baker
Yeah.
could stand in a crowd of 20,000 people and you could pick out Tom Baker in that crowd. He
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
he described John Pertwee as a light bulb, didn't he? It's like a big
Yeah.
light bulb, I think he said
Yeah.
in that Who's Doctor Who
Yeah. And
documentary.
he
But
glitters. Yeah. All that stuff.
glitters,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Glitters. But I mean, he was a massive arc light, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In reality.
He was a
And you're
lighthouse in
right.
comparison. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Gatwa just never had it. He never had it. But then again, Whittaker didn't have it either,
Yeah.
and they were doomed to failure right from the very start. To be quite honest, Lex, thank you again. Do you think that Gatwa was just one series of 16 episodes with 2 Christmas episodes, and Disney knew all along that it was a flop, and put them into 2 seasons? I think personally, I won't speak for Paul, but personally, I think. We know that they were all filmed at once, or the 16 episodes were certainly all filmed at once. But I do think they intended to make 2 series. But I think Disney would have seen probably everything that was made all in one go, and probably at that point thought they don't want any part of this anymore.
Well, I've said this many times before, but if I was Disney, I'd ask for my money back because it's not what they asked for at all. I don't think. I kind of slightly
I do
disagree
still
with you.
follow.
Say that again. Sorry.
No, go on.
I slightly disagree with you. I actually think it feels like one complete season. You know what I mean? Because 8 episodes isn't really enough. I know that's kind of the norm for some of Disney's, Disney Plus's shows like Mandalorian and things like that, The Acolyte, things like that, have been 8 episodes long. But it feels like one complete series almost. You know what I mean? Because if you look at Eccleston's first, that was 13 or 14 if you count the Christmas special, I
Yeah,
suppose. For a season, so it almost feels like that was a full season, for me personally. But I suppose it's quite good that it actually was split in 2 to make it less painful to watch in one go.
yeah. I think, yeah. I still struggle to this day, and I think I always will, to wonder how, when you see what they put on screen, how can you possibly make that equate to $100 million?
Yeah, yeah,
I just don't know how you can. It's one of the biggest magic tricks ever, how you could disappear $1 million, $100 million.
yeah.
I just don't know, but they managed it,
They just
and it
flushed it
was
down the toilet. To be fair.
yeah. I
If you
mean,
look back
I
at
know in
if you look back at any of the previous stuff, even Jodie's stuff, the budget, it looks more. I think the way Jodie stuff was filmed, looks much more expensive than Shooty's stuff, and they had a bigger budget. It's weird.
Mm,
Even though the stories
yeah.
were still crap, they were it
Oh
looked
yeah,
like it had a
they're
bigger
horrendous.
budget. Yeah, yeah,
No, I think I get where you're coming from on that, but yeah, yeah, $100 million.
yeah,
It's obscene for what they allegedly delivered.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Marie UK, making arse jokes is too close to home for RTD. Marie UK, you are a naughty girl.
Well, they
But
talk about writers knowing their subject, and he does that, doesn't he? Let's be honest. They write what you know about or what you know best. That's what people
well,
say. Yeah. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, very true. Yeah. All roads seem to always lead back to RTD, don't they? But
Yeah, they
it
do.
is nice
Yeah.
to be able to pop in some classic Who. I've been watching The Invasion with Troughton,
Oh, love the invasion.
and that
Yeah.
is just sublime.
Yeah.
That coming together of what was going to formulate the format for Doctor Who, so certainly through the first half of the 1970s.
Mm.
We finally got the Brigadier with Unit, which of course he didn't have during Web of Fear, but obviously now
Yeah.
you've got Unit there,
Yeah.
almost in some respects fully formed, and a cracking battle with the Cybermen. That is a really, really, really good. Can you imagine what it must have been like watching that in 1969? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, oh,
It's got one of my favourite Troughton moments in it. There's many favourite bits I have in that story, but the bit where he runs away from Tobias Vaughan and the Cyberman and shoots him in the arse with a gun, that is wonderful. That is just so beautifully done and so funny.
doing his
Yeah,
little hops and
yeah,
clutching his
what
backside, shouting, "Ooh,
absolutely
ooh!"
wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, yeah,
And as he walks past camera, going, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa!"
yeah.
It's yeah.
And
I
then when Sally Faulkner takes photographs and he does all that stuff with his hair and starts posing, that is wonderful too. Yeah, really nice.
he says
Yeah.
he's oh, but I'm,
Yeah,
you know,
and then gets
yeah,
into it. It's lovely. Yeah, really nice, lovely
yeah.
performance
But
as always. Yeah,
that's just Troughton to a T, isn't it? Like you say,
yeah,
as always. Yeah. Mark Greaves, thank you. SFX on Jason and the Argonauts 60 years ago was better than Ray Harryhausen.
yeah.
You know,
I love the bit where
uh,
the skeletons come out of the ground and that kind of stop motion animation is really creepy and it works so well when the
mm.
skeletons move with that animation. It works beautifully well. Yeah,
Did Harryhausen did the stop motion for First Man in the Moon, didn't he? As well.
I
I'm
think
pretty
he did.
certain he
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
Yeah, absolute
yeah,
genius.
yeah, yeah.
Absolute genius. Completely. Oh, yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to watch now because I finished Invasion. I'd gone through obviously very recently Series 7. All roads tend to lead back to Pertwee for me.
Have you watched Web of Fear recently?
I haven't watched Web of Fear recently. I am sort of like coming back round to about the time that I really want to watch Planet of the Daleks again, which was
Yeah.
where it all started for me.
Because Web of Fear, when Web of Fear was discovered, I adored Web of Fear. I think we all did, and the first episode was amazing. And just having that was
Yeah.
like really painful to watch that, and you couldn't watch the rest of the story because it was so good. And a lot of people think Enemy of the World was a revelation because it came back and everyone loved that. But I was never disappointed by the recovery of Web of Fear. I thought it was wonderful, and it really it surpassed my expectations. I loved it, and it didn't disappoint me at all. So I really enjoy it, and that's what that and Invasion were probably my two favorite Troughton
Mm.
stories. Definitely, yeah, yeah.
I should probably thinking back retrospectively, I should have watched Web of Fear and then The Invasion. Because if I watch Web of Fear now, I'd be doing Brigadier Stories 2 and then 1, if you see what I mean.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
might
yeah,
give it a bit. Uh, really, never have to be persuaded to watch Web of Fear, so it's not going to be a
yeah.
difficult ask.
No.
But I
Apart from
think
the
I'll give it
animation's dreadful. Apart from the animation in episode
I
three.
tend to
Yeah,
skip that. If
yeah,
anything,
yeah,
I'd listen to the audio only
yeah,
of
yeah,
the episode.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll be circling back to Planet of the Daleks just because I love it. But I might do the full 12 episodes and have Frontier in Space first
I
and
think
go.
Frontier in Space actually is very much a kind of underrated story. People think because it's a bit slow in places. I love the Draconians, the Ogrons. It's wonderful. And Delgado, I wish Delgado was in all 6 episodes because he's superb in it. And
Yes.
his relationship with the Ogrons is hilarious. Um, I think he's brilliant. And it's such a shame that was his last story. Really is. Yeah.
Well, he just rolls his eyes with them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Occasionally he'll get cross. Occasionally he'll just roll his eyes, like he did with Trenchard in Sea
Yeah.
Devils as well. It
that
treats him
that
very
I
much
love
like.
that moment in Frontier in Space where the Ogren says, "But we're on a course for Earth." He goes, "Well, naturally, because we're chasing them." That's a wonderful moment when he gets frustrated with them because they're so stupid. It's wonderful. Yeah, yeah,
Delgado, such a loss,
yeah,
such a loss. Great actor, great actor. Lex, um, thank you again. My favourite line from the Master in the Five Doctors. Third Doctor says, "Another regeneration." The Master replies, "Not exactly."
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
So,
can't explain that I murdered Nissa's father and took over his body. That's too complicated. Yeah, so yeah,
and then the Doctor would know about it ahead of time, wouldn't he?
exactly. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then that'd cause all sorts of paradoxes. Yeah, but
It's funny.
Delgado.
We always end up going back to classic Who, which is probably because it's our favorite era of the show. Really, I mean, we love all aspects of it. Um, if you remember last week, though, I showed you my exhibition uh, piece that I got from a friend of mine as a present. I
Yeah.
wanted to, and I'm sure GT would love this, is that we have until he comes back, and he maybe can start a little sting for us when he comes back, that we could have a kind of a merchandise corner type thing
Mm.
on the show, and we could maybe show things that we've bought recently in terms of Doctor Who merchandise. Now I showed you this earlier, but for our viewers, and hopefully they like this. Um, I bought recently. It was actually July. I treated myself to a an umbrella, and I've got it here. Let me show you what I got.
Is it
I
Troughton from the Crotons? Oh,
no,
no.
no, it's a Sylvester McCoy umbrella that I bought, and I hope my wife's not listening, but this cost me 50 quid.
Shh.
But shh, don't tell her. But this is
No.
actually a fantastic um umbrella. It's probably better made than the actual original because it's really solid. If you look at McCoy's one, it's knackered and it's kind of scratched and whatever. But this is really good quality, and I got it from Amazon. Other retailers are available, but this it's like the shopping channel now. I know, but but this is a fantastic prop, and I've taken out the plastic and everything, and it's in downstairs in my hall in an umbrella stand, and it looks fantastic as you come in and you have this wonderful question mark umbrella. I must admit, I hated the question marks in general when
Mm.
G&T brought them in, but I loved this umbrella. It was superb, and I recommend you get this as a if you've got some cash on the hip, as they say, buy one of these because they're really really good. Get them on Amazon. It's from the Doctor Who store on Amazon, and it's some of the great stuff you get. You get Doctor Who scarves, McCoy scarves. You get the pullover with the question marks, and you get the Tom Baker scarf, all that kind of stuff. And it's a wonderful, wonderful place to search for merchandise. So, have you bought anything
Okay.
recently at all, Ian, that you could tell us about?
Um,
Or
you caught me a bit cold. I know we mentioned it briefly, but
that's okay. Maybe you could show us next time we're on. That's not a problem.
no, I can grab something very quickly that is particularly fond of mine. Is quite a few years back, my bestest friend in the universe got me this, which
Oh,
is a
fantastic! Yes,
crystal from Metabilis 3. Now, it's not a replica which does the rounds nowadays. This
yeah,
is custom made. It's
yeah,
glass.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
custom made. It's not as big as the ones that you can buy, which are these. So you
yeah,
can see
yeah,
here there is a bit of a thing difference. But this one, the one that was made specifically for me,
yeah,
is probably about 3 times the weight of this one. But this
yeah,
one has a button and takes a battery. And,
yeah,
because the crystal just, I was captivated by the crystal when
yeah,
Pertwee got it in Green Death. And because it was a wonderful little vignette of a fantastic story where at the start he just buggered off to another planet and Joe Grant went to Wales.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
he had this fantastic scene of him on this incredibly hostile planet, which
yeah.
scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, I love
But
that sequence. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
yeah, and he comes back with this crystal, which then becomes integral to the story
Yeah,
naturally. And then, of course, he gives it to Joe at the end, spoilers, and then he gets it back, or he gets it sent back in Planet of the Spiders, and it
yeah,
becomes integral to that story. But I'd always wanted a crystal as a kid, and
yeah,
my dad had this hexagonal blue plastic cap, and I never knew what it was for, but I did later find out. I think when you got copper pipes, they were bunched together and they had a plastic cap on either end. And it was one of those plastic caps, and he used it to keep screws in and things like that. So obviously, I
yeah,
chucked the screws away and took this
yeah,
plastic cap because it was blue,
yeah,
and if you held it
yeah,
to the light, it shone through. You see,
yeah,
but and to me, that was a crystal from Metabilis 3, and not a copper tube cover from the equivalent of B&Q in the 1970s. So when my lovely friend Karen got me this, I was just like, oh wow, and it does really feel meaty.
Yeah,
But this is probably the most recent purchase, because I saw them. Some of them come with a spider stand,
yeah.
and this just, I didn't want the spider stand.
Is
It
the
was
one
over.
the larger one with the button on it with the light in it? Is that the same kind of texture and weight as the smaller one in terms of, is it actually glass or is it plastic, that one?
No, it's plastic. It's
Right.
plastic. As I say, this one weighs about 3 times as much, and
Yeah.
I've had it
Yeah.
probably for about, well, probably for the best part of 20 years.
Yeah.
But this one is probably one of my most recent acquisitions, and I just wanted it, and it's from Mooncrest models. I would
Right.
always recommend Mooncrest models. I've got some full size Dalek spare parts from them, and Turlo's Crystal came from them. They do wonderful models, but this is definitely, you know.
My mate's got the a similar one to the smaller one you've got, and I have handled it, and the weight of it's really good. It feels really sturdy. So I've handled one of them. My mate's got a similar one to you have, the smaller one, and it's really
Yeah,
good quality, superb stuff. The workmanship's amazing on it, I have to say. See
I think
the Turtle one you got, you have to run a cable down your arm like Mark Strickson did, and kind of do that kind of thing that he did, but
yeah, it does have, it does actually. I'll get it demo. Step over a dog. It's just up here. Oh, and there. I got the crystal just after I got this as well. I'll come to that in a minute. So the Turlo crystal, you can see, has, um, you could put a bulb in there,
yeah,
but nowadays you could probably get a suitable LED one, and it probably wouldn't give you the heating up problem. You could probably get a self-contained LED one, to be quite honest, but it is quite nice, because you can. We're back on tangents, aren't we? But you
we
can
are,
put,
we are.
if I put the phone light on it and everything, it does light up quite nicely.
Yeah.
It does sit, but then so does my glass crystal, lights up quite nicely.
So was
Um,
the Turlo Black Guardian light Mooncrest as well? Did you say, or the different
yes,
people? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Right.
So I have 3 things from Mooncrest, and if I had money, I would have a lot more from Mooncrest. They are absolute quality. So Metabilis crystal, Turlo cube thing, and because this just speaks so much. I don't think we ever saw this outside of Pertwee's era, but dematerialization circuit.
Yes, they're lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the full size one, not the mini one, which had appeared at some point. But this is a wonderful reproduction of
Yeah.
of that prop.
Yeah.
Very, very, you look at it, very simplistic, very basic, but you just see it, and you're there.
Yeah.
You know, and you can see it was an enlarged version of this that Katie Manning, on her first appearance as Jo, destroyed with a fire extinguisher at the start of Terror of the Autons. You look at it, it's a very big
Yeah.
rendition of the dematerialization circuit, and
Yeah.
you can see where he's trying to get to. And it's one of these that materializes on the top of the TARDIS console at the end of the Three Doctors.
Yeah.
And it's just, things like this. It does nothing. It does nothing. It is a static thing.
Yeah.
But just to know it from the past in Doctor Who, and just to sort of like look up and see it on your shelf, it just
Yeah.
it feels good. That
They're
sounds
great.
weird, doesn't it?
Again, my mate has the circuit as well. I think it's the same size, and they are really good quality. The
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
workmanship in it is amazing. The talent of people to recreate these things.
Mm.
I wish I had that talent myself to do it, but this the
Yeah.
detail's incredible. I've seen like sort of small scale TARDIS consoles as well that people have done similar to that
Mm.
kind of quality, and you get the original console, the Pertwee console, and some of it is absolutely, the detail's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I would, to anybody that's thinking of getting little things like this, he makes them in batches. So there's a batch, he'll advertise them, and they go very, very quickly. Be they
Yeah,
Turlo
yeah,
crystals, dematerialization circuits, Metabilis crystals, or anything else. They do
yeah,
go very, very quickly. And he does other stuff from other series as well, or Star Wars and things like that. A bit of horror is in there too, and I believe he makes them when the demand builds up. But yeah, I have a set of replacement K9 ears which I need to use at some point or deploy. But my K9 needs more than just a few new ears. He needs quite an overhaul. But yeah,
And
Mooncrest
what
models
happened to him? Was he hit by a car? What happened?
is a veteran of 4 house moves now. Hopefully no
Oh, I see.
more.
Okay,
But
right. Okay,
4
right.
house
Okay.
moves over a number of years, and the occasional bumping into things, and his
Right.
head rattles because his gun has fallen inside his head, and
All right. Okay.
it's it needs a bit of a major overhaul, unfortunately.
So he looks
I
a bit like
always
the one
feel
in school reunion, a bit like that now. Is it that sort
a
of
little bit, yeah,
version? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
a little bit. I think JT's K9 is in a lot better state than mine is. Yeah, I can only wish. Yeah, but there we go. I think that might be us for tonight.
I think it may be. Yeah. I think we've waffled enough. Hopefully we didn't bore everyone too much with our tangents. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, we do like our tangents. Thank you for sticking with us. The chat's been mad. We've had just over 200 people in the chat at one point, so thank you for that. Do please like, share, and subscribe. The subscription thing is a big thing. We cracked the 2K this week just gone, which was fantastic.
Thank you
Really
very much.
appreciate
Yeah.
that, and thank you for all your support. Yeah, that means a lot to us, and we know for absolute cert it means a huge amount to JT. And we really appreciate the support that you're showing. So I'm not going to waffle anymore. I don't think we've got anything else to say, have we, Paul, for now?
I think we've probably waffled enough, I think, to be honest.
Okay. In which case, thank you, everybody. See you again soon. And for now, it's good night from me.
And good night from him.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Oh, you'll be delighted and somewhat surprised to know that you can now own Who's Views merchandise. Yes, a range of mugs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, cuddly toys, a cheer please, and other goodies, all putting official Doctor Who merchandise to shame. It's now available from the Who's Views shop. You can find it on the store tab on the channel or by scanning that squiggly thing there.